Story 1. When I was around 17 and in my heavy gaming phase, still living with my parents, I spent a lot of time playing Call of Duty in my room on my computer. This was especially true during the summertime when it was unbearably hot outside, and I preferred to stay inside in the air conditioning. On one particular Friday night, or a night when there was no school the next day, I stayed up late after getting home from school. I had submitted a paper that was due that night to get it over with, and then I had to do some shopping afterward, per my mom's orders, as they would be gone for a while. This was how I earned my keep in the house, according to my dad. They left cash for me to use, but I always had to show them the receipt to ensure I didn't just pocket any of the money. My mom gave me a shopping list, so I went to Whole Foods in my old Camry, which was my first car. Shopping took about an hour, and I returned home. While in the grocery store, a guy in line behind me started talking to me. It was a bit strange as he made comments about the items I was buying, and wouldn't stop talking even as I was bagging my groceries. Nonetheless, I was polite. When it was time to leave, I said goodbye and left. Once home, I put away the groceries and got straight onto Call of Duty Black Ops on my computer. I texted my friend Johnny to get online as well, and we played some team deathmatch, as we usually did. I was using my noise-canceling Logitech headset, and we were committed to playing all night and ranking up. Around 2 hours into playing, I took a break to make dinner. My kitchen was downstairs, and my room was upstairs. While eating in the kitchen, I thought I heard a thump from upstairs, but I wasn't sure if it was a footstep or something else. Nonetheless, I went back upstairs and checked the front door, which I usually left unlocked, but this time I locked it. Later, while playing with Johnny, I looked out into the hallway and noticed something different. I could see through the crack of the door into the hallway, which was unusual. After our next game, Johnny went to take a break, and that's when I noticed a man sitting on my bed, his posture unnaturally upright. Startled, I jumped out of my seat and screamed at him, asking what he wanted. He started smiling and didn't seem hostile, but his presence was unnerving. I ran out into the hallway, and he followed, asking if he could play too in a slow, stuttered voice. I asked him how he got in, and he gestured towards the front door. Panicked, I grabbed a kitchen knife and the landline phone, screaming at him to leave while calling 911. He walked out, and I locked the door for the first time, feeling ashamed for leaving it unlocked. I went through the house, checking if anything was taken, but everything seemed in place. I told my parents what happened, and my dad agreed that something was wrong with the man. The image of him sitting on my bed and watching me through the crack in the door haunted me. It was a terrifying experience, and it made me realize the importance of home security and being cautious, even in seemingly safe neighborhoods. Story 2. Last week, in May 2021, I had just officially quit playing Fortnite. My friend Brandon suggested I download Apex Legends and play with him. I already had the game downloaded, so I updated it and logged on. I hadn't played since the game came out, so my stats were terrible, and I only had the starting legends, Pathfinder and Bloodhound, because I thought they were the best starters. I was home alone. My parents had gone out for their late anniversary dinner, and my brother was at his friend's house. I was playing Apex with Brandon when he suddenly got a text from a random number. He said, "Dude, what the heck? I just got a random message." "What does it say?" I asked. "Look out the window," he replied. "Why?" I said, turning my head slightly to the right, then to the left. I didn't know which window to look out of, since this room has 5 windows. I looked at each of them in a panic until I found the one that was least visible from my couch. There was a man standing there, facing away from the window. Little did I know then. I put my headphones back on, but Brandon stopped talking. Suddenly, there was a deeper voice than Brandon's on the mic. It said, "Come outside right now, or I will come in." I couldn't recognize the voice, but I knew it was that of a grown man. I looked back at the window, and sure enough, there he was, banging on the window. He looked completely demented, with his face dark red and his hands gushing blood as he pounded on the window. It started to crack. I picked up my phone, which was right next to me. I was horrified to see it was at 1% battery. I kept saying, "Oh no," over and over. I put my phone to my ear and mouthed the words, "There's a man trying to break into my house. His face is dark red and his hands are bleeding." Next thing I knew, He started screaming while bashing at my window. Then I thought, wait a second. There are screens in front of all of our windows, so how is he breaking it? I took too much time to think. Finally, a shard of glass fell to the ground, followed by another. A hole large enough for me to shout through opened up. I screamed, "Go away before the cops get here, you son of a expletive." Another shard fell, then another. I went to get a large knife from the knife block in the kitchen and returned to where the man was breaking the window. There was already a hole big enough for him to crawl through, and he had already started. I ran back to the kitchen, grabbed the cordless phone, ran upstairs, and dialed 911. I told them the exact words I had mouthed earlier on my cell phone, along with the fact that he was now inside my home. Unfortunately, the only doors with locks upstairs are the bathrooms, so thinking on my feet, I went into my parents' room and locked the door. At that moment, I thought I was being smart because I left the bedroom door wide open, and the bathroom door, which is actually inside the bedroom, is not visible from the bedroom door. I thought if that guy managed to come upstairs before the cops got here, he would see the door wide open and think I wasn't in there. Suddenly, I heard footsteps coming up the stairs. My heart started pounding harder than ever, and it got harder to breathe. I opened one of the drawers, looking for something sharp that I could maybe use as a weapon. I think he must have heard the drawer because he came stomping into the bedroom. I heard sirens outside, and I never could have thanked the cops enough for being so fast. He heard it too, and at this point, he had nowhere to go. I ran outside to the police as well and told them what happened. The man was arrested, handcuffs put around his bloodied wrists. I later figured out that I had killed that guy in Apex and kind of trash-talked him just an hour or two before. Somehow, he got my address and Brandon's phone number. Some people are just messed up in the head, and apparently, they will do unspeakable things for video games. Everyone gets frustrated from getting killed in a game, but really showing up at a person's house to potentially kill them in real life over a game is really messed up. This guy had to be mental. A few police cars stayed at my house overnight after the others had taken the man away. The man was convicted for aggravated burglary. Story 3. It was a cold, foggy evening in October when Sarah decided to take a walk in the woods near her house. She loved the mysterious atmosphere that the fog created, and she found it calming to be surrounded by nature. As she walked along the narrow path, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Brushing off her unease, Sarah continued on her walk, trying to enjoy the tranquility of the forest. But the feeling of being watched persisted, growing stronger with each step she took. She glanced around, but the thick fog obscured her vision, making it impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. Suddenly, she heard a twig snap behind her, and her heart leaped into her throat. She spun around, expecting to see someone following her, but the path was empty. A shiver ran down her spine as she realized that she was completely alone in the woods. Deciding to head back home, Sarah quickened her pace, the feeling of unease gnawing at her insides. But no matter how fast she walked, the feeling of being watched only intensified. She could almost feel eyes boring into her back, following her every move. Just as she was about to break into a run, she heard a soft whisper behind her. "Sarah," it said, sending a chill down her spine. She froze in place, too terrified to move. The whisper came again, closer this time, and she could feel someone's breath on the back of her neck. Summoning all her courage, Sarah spun around, ready to confront whoever or whatever was stalking her. But to her horror, there was nobody there. The fog had thickened, obscuring her vision completely, and all she could see was a wall of white mist. Panic rising inside her, Sarah turned and ran as fast as she could, blindly following the path through the dense forest. She stumbled over roots and fallen branches, her heart pounding in her chest. The whispering seemed to surround her now, coming from all directions at once, and she felt as though she were trapped in some kind of nightmare. Just when she thought she couldn't run anymore, Sarah burst out of the woods and into the clearing near her house. Gasping for breath, she collapsed onto the ground, her whole body shaking with fear. She lay there for what felt like hours, until the fog began to dissipate and the first light of dawn broke through the trees. As the sun rose, Sarah gathered her strength and made her way back home, vowing never to venture into the woods alone again. To this day, she's not sure what or who was watching her that night, but she knows one thing for certain. Some secrets are best left undisturbed in the dark depths of the forest.